Yeehaw, soldiers! It's your boy Namus, is coming to you from the stage of Sanctum, and this is me ranting about college. Let's get into it. So, a lot of people are, you know, interested in the concept of college. A lot of people are interested in, when they get older as they go for middle school, high school. I think a majority of my, followers on just like on my YouTube platform, they're at least middle schoolers going on high school, so on, or maybe they've gone past college. So I think maybe this will resonate with a lot of people here. But this is essentially me ranting about college. Now, let me just start off with this bit of disclaimer. I am not in college. I did not choose to go to college simply because I can't really afford it. That's just how it is. Community college could be an option for me in the future, but in any case, I don't think university or college right now is for me, especially since I am running a channel that is doing very, very well. If that wasn't the case, I'd probably go to community college, but I don't know if I would go to a full-on university because I don't know if the degree for getting to like $50,000 into debt is worth it. And that's kind of one of the main issues I have with college. So back when you get out of high school, to all of you people who are going for high school, maybe you're late into middle school or something like that. So to all you guys, so usually when it comes down to getting that college degree, getting that degree, you're over the course of like middle school and high school, high school especially, actually, because that was where college was stressed to me the most back during my middle school days. I'm sorry, high school days, sorry. But back during those high school days, I was coaxed into thinking about college very early. And, I used to be under that mentality. But I had to come to grips with a reality about my destiny in terms of college. I wasn't going to go to a college that I was necessarily in love with because because I'm not really, that wealthy, and even if I chose to go to community college, I'd rather just like spend like the rest of my time just trying to build a business of my own and do a trade so I don't even have to spend a dime on a trade or something like that. I'm pretty intelligent in terms of, me managing something, me like, trying to build something on my own and how to manage that and stuff like that. I know how to like make lists and stuff like that. I know how to do certain things. Like I'm pretty good at math. I've also cut it before and stuff like that. So I'm also learning how to looking into doing some stocks and stuff like that. So I'm in terms of me looking into what my future could be or whatever, I'm pretty much trying to see it as an option. And if something like me trying to build a business fails, I think that community college would be the second option. But when it comes to regular college and when it comes to universities, you are potentially sacrificing thousands of dollars and putting all that into debt for who knows. Now, I am not saying that you shouldn't go to college because I think that it does offer a lot. What I am saying a lot in terms of like, getting a, lawyer law degree, a doctor degree, degree for being a doctor, in medical fields, being a dentist, all this other type of stuff. But what I am saying is that people go to college just to go to college. They don't go to college because they need their college degree they need that college degree for a specific job that they want. They just go to, it's just like ridiculous to me because they're essentially going to college just for the sake of going to college. And then they'll find that college isn't for them over the next and potentially either have 4 years of misery or be a dropout. And with the, little bit of stigma that comes with college dropouts, it kind of makes them feel like a failure in many ways. And it feels like they, didn't really achieve much and stuff like that. And it doesn't feel like, and they kind of go for those types of ups and downs and stuff like that. And then they might think about going back to college, and even if they try to finish, they have a massive hole of like $1,000 into debt that they've put themselves in. So that's just a big problem for me. And I cannot for life of me understand why we're trusting 18 and 17 to, actually not really 18, 19 year olds, more so 17 and 19 year old kids who, they just graduate high school. Well, you could say young adults, but at the end of the day, their frontal lobe is still, in a way developing. And that frontal lobe, and they also come out of it with like no financial skills. So what they end up doing is that they say, well, I'll take on this debt, and for the next couple of years I'll go to college and then I'll pay it off. But they have no real plan to pay that debt off. So what ends up happening to them is that the hole that they've dug themselves in is massive, and that means that they can't really do much with that degree that they got. Unless you're like a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. It's they're again. I'm not saying don't go to college. Again, just being very clear here. But if it's not worth the amount of debt that you go into, if it's not worth it, then you should not go to college. I'm just being very clear here, and again, as I continue on to this point, the fact that these kids don't these high school kids that are going to be young adults or already young adults, if they don't understand the financial ability, and understand what money actually is, and how you should not have this mass investment or make this massive investment if you can't really, have a way to pay it off. It just creates this amount of, heartache and stuff like that, and you can't buy a house, you can't do all type of stuff, and it was a very massive problem for the next couple of years. And I believe it is only recently that the federal government has finally just addressed this issue. But even then, it's just like, what are we doing? And literally, a massive contributor to all this is because of the fact that we tell these kids from birth that you got to go to college, and then they're coaxing into it even further once they go to high school, and then they feel like they have this massive pressure of, I should go to college, I need to go to college, I need to make my parents proud, and if I don't no. And I'm not sure that this is the case for everybody, because everybody's different there, but I feel like it's at least something that happens, let's say, over 50% of the time. And it's sad, because those people will then just be either miserable because college isn't for them. They'll be miserable after college because they didn't have a plan for debt, or they don't get a job because that degree that they got over the next 4 years was kind of worthless. That's all there is to it. There isn't like a distinction between like, well, you should probably be going after these degrees if you want to go to college. No, it's just the mentality of you have to go to college, which there needs to be a big distinction there, because if you're going to like, I kind of have my mind changed about this, but like when you go into like, there are benefits to getting like, a business degree, but at the same time, you got to consider the fact that business relies more on achievements, and it relies more on experience and stuff like that. So an example of this is, if I was a number one guy in sales and I did it for like, multiple years in a row and stuff like that, but I didn't have that business degree, versus a guy who hasn't really proven himself, but it just came out of a college degree, came out of college, he had a degree and stuff like that, they're going to choose me because I have higher sales. And that's just a big thing, because there's certain degrees they just don't need. Another example, this is of course a social media consultant. So I'll use myself as an example again. So if I approach someone and I consult them on how to build their social media platforms, I have 10,000 subscribers. I have over 300 followers on both my Twitter and Instagram accounts. And this guy, on the other hand, they have a social media consultant degree, or whatever degree you would have in that field. And they would then be like, and then they would probably have like, I don't know, let's say 100 subs and only like, 50 followers on their, no, let's go a little below, 25 followers on their Twitter and Instagram. Guess who they're going to choose to help build their platforms? Me. Because I've shown that I have the ability to build that platform, and I've been able to build some, not necessarily the largest platforms, but I've at least built a platform. So that's just how it goes. And when I see, and that's just like the big distinction here, as I mentioned earlier. If the degree is not worth the thousands of dollars that you're going to be getting yourself into debt into, then you should not go to college. It's just a fact. This isn't my opinion. This is just objective, because you, as an investor, you would not invest $120,000 into shit. Essentially, you would not invest $120,000 into poop or shit or whatever. And if you're putting an investment into a degree that is not going to help you moving forward and get you out of that debt, then we got a problem here, because you're obviously didn't really look into the diagnostics, or you fell into the college trap. Now, I guess a big factor that goes into college being like that expensive, because I guess some of you guys are, going to be questioning, why is college so expensive anyways? It comes more down to something called supply and demand. So back during the olden times, I don't know if there wasn't as much of that, type of demand to go to college in a way. But when the government kind of participates in your education in a way, and there's this mentality that you have to go to college that starts popping out. Let's just say, ooh, that demand just went up and that price went way up because so many people want to go to college. It's just, you just you kind of drive up the prices in a way, and if even the government's kind of supporting that notion, well, yeah, that's kind of why college is very expensive. Now, when I refer to the point of college not being for them, maybe you're not really meant for a college classroom and you're not meant for, those types of lectures and stuff like that. That's fine. You don't need to be meant for college because, again, college isn't for everybody. College people want to make the mentality that, oh, you have to go to college because otherwise you're like, because of like all the stuff I listed earlier, and that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Because if you're not meant for college, you're just not meant for college. Maybe you learn a different way, or maybe you can achieve success by a different route. You can maybe start a small business during that time. You could do all this and that. Like, it's not even that it's just that you're not an idiot. It's just at the end of the day, it's not for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, we talk to people about when they try to look into something like music or art or something like that it's just not for them. Well, we don't do that for other subjects, which I might get into a rant about with the education system in general, but I'm just more so focusing on college here, so I'll just leave it to the side. But when it comes to certain stuff, some certain type of stuff is just not for you. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of something like, I don't know, I guess a nice example is, I'm not necessarily the biggest SAO guy in a way, but I'm maybe I can see why some people like it, and at the end of the day, I'm not really gonna care. It's kind of that same principle here, but it's people have just like this opinion that you just have to go to college, and I just can't agree with that, because if something's not for somebody else, then they shouldn't have to go. And at the moment that you are forcing your son or daughter to go to college because it'll make you feel good, I'm talking to parents now, then we have a problem, because if there's no plan to pay off that debt, and if they're not comfortable with college and they're not ready, or they don't feel they're ready for it, then we got a problem here. Because you don't even have to start college right away. Like, one of the main thoughts about about me not going to college for like maybe at least 1 year was that the concept of gap year. Like, you can just like do stuff like, I don't know, maybe look to start your own business and get a trade. Then maybe think about going to a trade school, and then you can make a lot of money off of that. Maybe you maybe find more soul searching and see what you really want to do in life. Maybe you start a business, and maybe you can look to, you don't really have to need to go to college, but if you make a decent amount of money, maybe you could think about going and continuing the education then when you have the income success. Maybe you go back. In fact, you go back. You don't have to start college like right away. At the end of the day, you don't have to start right away. I think like I might have to repeat this into someone's head, but you don't have to start college right away. People have the mentality that, I can't go back to school because I'm too old, but there are people who have those exact same circumstances, and they're not going to really regret that type of stuff. Yeah, we got like NFL athletes who go back to school, like Larry Fitzgerald, and they get their degrees. And I don't know how old I believe Larry Fitzgerald was, a bit up there in age when he went back to school. I believe he was probably after, I forget when that was, but he went back to school after a long time going in the NFL and stuff like that. But that's just how it goes. If you want to continue college later on in life, or you want to go to college later in life, and especially if you have the income later on, or if you think that college is going to be meant to fully achieve your dreams, then again, you don't have to go immediately. And if you found that decision on your own, just for like soul searching or something like that, then that's great. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Just make sure that the degree is worth the investment, and make sure that it's something that you want to do. If you think college is your path to success, and if you think it's the path to becoming it, to make you have a career that's going to make you happy and at least maybe make you financially successful, that's fine. I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, I'm fine with that. I'm just saying that it's just at the end of the day, I just feel like this mentality of like you have to go to college. You need to go into the fact you have to go into debt to have to go to college, and you're kind of have restrictions there. It's just to me that I have massive issues with that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like if we have this mentality of is college the right thing for me, right for me, if if we have this mentality of should I go into debt to get this degree, and will it pay off for me a couple years down the line? Now, I do know that at times plans do change or something could happen at the end of the day, but you at least have to make sure you adjust, and you still have to keep some of these in mind, because if you have like, even if there's like a different change of plans, you got to determine, well, I guess, is college still going to be the right place for me down the line, or do I have to at that point drop out and look into something else? You know what I'm saying? Like there will be times where plans will change, but you still got to keep some of those questions in mind. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you do that. And at the end of the day, I just like, we also need to collectively just have this mentality if we want to make, college better, because at the end of the day, I don't think necessarily college doesn't, it's not really cares about whether or not you know succeed or not. All they really care about is them getting their money. So that's just kind of a bit of an other issue I do have there, but that's just like that just kind of creates that little bit of motivation for them to be like, hey, let's get some money and stuff like that. But I think like it all ties back to all that type of stuff at the end of the day. But that's all there is. But if we had less people going to college, then the price would have to go down, and we'd have less type of incidents like that happen. So that's all I'm gonna say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was kind of a bit of a rant, a little bit of a rant. I kind of rambled at certain points, but I think I did get my points across in a way. So this has been your boy, the Anime Sage. Sign out. Peace. Yordha. Peace. Bye bye.